And then from there in year three, you spend a very short amount of time with Spain. You sign with them in August. You end up in one of the teams there, but you're parting ways with them in October and heading to Greece.
Mhm.
So walk us through that first period of that year. What happened there? How did you end up leaving the La Liga and heading to Greece in just a short amount of time?
Yeah, no, that was probably the most tumultuous season of my career.
It sure does look like it.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I finished my second year again. I believe I led the league in rebounding again in Italy. So now that's back to back years I'm doing that. And I was able to sign with Baskonia, a EuroLeague team in Spain. So I went there end of August, and then we're going through preseason. I got really bad tendonitis in my knee, and you guys have been doing this enough that I'm sure you spoke to enough players that when you're injured, especially during preseason, they don't really give you much time to recover. I mean, they
Mm-hmm.
feel like they have enough time to find a new player and kind of just keep the ball rolling. So that's exactly what they did, especially as a high level EuroLeague team, with big time expectations in a league like the ACB. So they brought in another big. They told me I could stay in rehab. They weren't cutting me by any means. I could stay in rehab. I was a young player. I think I was 24 at that time. Uh, they actually wanted to re-sign me to another year deal and just keep me under contract and loan me out for that first year and then maybe bring me back the second year. Uh, so they were just like, those are your options, or we can part ways now. We'll pay you up to where you are now, and we'll just separate and we'll part ways. So I was going to stay. I really liked it there. Just the atmosphere, EuroLeague. I was just going to stay in rehab, and which I did. And then my agent said, "You have an offer in Greece from a Euro Cup team in Athens, really solid club. They're really looking for a big. Uh, you know, they think you'd be perfect." So I pulled the trigger. I went there. Um, really solid club, historic club, great history. Really enjoyed being in Athens. Beautiful culture, beautiful weather, but just the playing style, I think, just wasn't for me in Greece.
Hmm.
I would say it's more, in my opinion, I would say it's more small ball oriented, guard oriented. Um, just doesn't really fit my game for the most part. So I went there, struggled to fit in. We had some other talented players. We had another really good Greek big guy who was taking a lot of the minutes. So it was just kind of tough for me to find my rhythm, especially getting there late. So we parted ways. I went home. I was home for the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas. And then that's when I went back to Italy in January to Brindisi.
And that's
So
where you ended the season.
yeah, that's one of the really kind of more interesting arcs too, especially when you're talking about the decision between sticking around with Baskonia and going over to Athens. Obviously, with the benefit of hindsight now that it probably wasn't for you in terms of the league style of play, but obviously, like you said, being in Athens isn't exactly bad. But that contract situation sounds pretty unique in the sense that I'm not sure offhand I can remember another guest from our podcast so far that's had something like that where there's been something so early on in the season where they're saying, hey, look, we like you. You're not necessarily going to play, while you're rehabbing. You can stick around and, when you're well enough, we'll loan you out. And kind of like, would it be kind of like the 1+1 renegotiating? Or like, what was that kind of that talk like? And I would say not only was the talk like between you and the club, because I think you just hit on it, but was there a discussion between you and your agent of like, I really think that you should stay here, or that Athens is the kind of club that you would leave for?
Yeah, I mean, the situation with Baskonia, they were very professional in the way that they handled things. They brought in a new big, and once you see that, you kind of know the writings on the wall. And then again, like they said, they brought me in. I'll never forget. They brought me in. It was nothing that I had to hear from someone else, or whatever. They brought me in face to face, and they were like, "Listen, your niche is not where it needs to be." We were in, I don't know, mid-September at this point. Let's say the games are going to start in about 2 or 3 weeks, and I was a young player, so I think they looked at me as like a prospect. They were like, listen, we're willing to sign you to an additional year. This year, when you get better, we'll look for a team, we'll loan you out. And then if you do well at that situation, we'll bring you back here the following year. If that's something that you're willing to do, we'll do that. As a young player, why not? I have a Nigerian passport, so that's helpful in Spain. So I'm not taking up a spot of an American. So there was a lot of reasons on their side to want to do it. And then for me too, I was thinking about it. It's a EuroLeague team. Why not? But then which I was thinking about doing, but then when the deal from Greece came in, that kind of swayed my judgment. I was like, you know what? Let me just part ways with this team. Let me go to Greece. Then I have my freedom in a sense. I don't have this 2-year deal on me if I'm still in Basconia. I'm just free. I could go to Greece and then I can kind of move how I want next summer. That was kind of my logic. But then it just didn't work out. I think mostly was my fault, I would say. I think I rushed a little bit. I took a deal with the team that maybe, or in a league that maybe doesn't fit my style. I probably should have waited and did my research. But this team they were looking for a big, they were in a rush. And I pulled the trigger. But like we talked about, in hindsight, I probably should have waited a little bit and did my research, because when I went there, just wasn't a good fit for me playing style wise. And then they also had a Greek big who was really good, who I wasn't better than, I'll be honest with you. And I would have been playing behind him anyway, even if it was a good fit for me. So you live and you learn.
Hello, and thanks for watching. Be sure to give the video a like, and you can watch more videos over here. You can also click subscribe over here so you're notified when we have new content here on Expat Hoops.